Welcome, multiple eyeballs, Megatron, Emmy, Mr. Europe, and all those others listening, gathering wisdom from this chat. That was Don't Bring a Knife to a Gunfight by LA Guns, a banging of a song. Now, how can men retire early with red pill thinking? This is not rocket science. This is real stuff. Let's take the age of 45. 45, you retire. You're 25 right now. You're 20 years old, 25. And we'll get in a little bit later, too. Well, the best way, good to see Outlaw, Creepy Roasta in the house. Good to see you guys. JR is back. A lot of different things you can do. But the quickest way to earn money and to grow money is to not, number one, be in debt. And number two, waste it and find a vehicle to grow that money. Some of the best advice out there is to invest in, if you have the time, it's not financial advice, but book after book, a lot of Warren Buffett's ways that talk about an S&P related fund, which has an average of 10 to 14% over the life of the fund. The more you fund it, the more it grows. They say the quickest way for your money to grow is to get to $100,000 in an account, and then the compounding interest will see that grow. Mine has grown over the last 25 years, even though half of it was taken in a divorce, but that's okay. So you got to have your money growing for you. Number one, you got to figure out a way not to waste it. Number two, and number three, you have to stay out of debt and live below your means. My dad would always say, Rad, we have to live below our means. Well, as a young teenager, I didn't know what that meant. I'd get my first paycheck being a busboy or a dishwasher, and I want to go spend it on a new skateboard or the new Colt cassette. We had to order those cassettes. They were actually imports, if anybody remembers that. But compound interest is your friend. If you start at 16 or 18 or 20, even at age 30, by the time you're 50, you have 20 years of growth. Now, what happens in a red pill or in a blue pill mindset? A blue pill mind's got to go get married. We talked about how much marriage costs, right? And we'll talk about how much do you really need to retire and where you should retire and so forth. But at the end of the day, where was I going with this? Marriage costs a lot of money. Just to get married, just to put a wedding ring, if you were a blue pill, just at minimum 10 grand. They probably want $20,000, $30,000 rings now. Mine was $5,000 or $3,800. That was 27 years ago, which would probably today be $75,000, $8,000. But my dad hooked me up with his diamond broker, and I got a really good deal, wholesale. Number two, you got to get first and last month rent. You've got to go buy all of your furniture. You've got a honeymoon. You've got a wedding. I mean, that can all add up literally 50 grand, if not up to 100,000. Wasted. 700 in your nest egg. Well, you can grow that, brother. Europe says right here, no happy wife, no wife, happy life, no wasting money on a stinky fishy box. And that's another thing. How much money would we have saved? Good to see Gama John. Appreciate you being here, brother. How much would we have saved if we didn't get into those predicaments? Now, those young men that are listening to us that have realized that, you know what, I want to listen to some of these guys. I believe a lot of what I've seen. My parents are divorced and so forth. Take heed, okay? Understand how money works. Understand you have to use it. There's only very few ways people get rich in life. They inherit it, they steal it, they work for it, or they let the money work for them. And a lot of those guys that work for make a lot of money. I mean, even having a small business like John, power pressure washing, setting up his own ability. I had an S corp for a while, so I could, you can run deductions through your company and their tax write-off and so forth. And you can also gain wealth as a small business owner. Good to see Otto in the house. Money won't mean much when we have digital currency. Yes, and that is one thing that is definitely frightening. Arvero, good to see you. 100 grand for a friggin' wedding. Yeah, minimum at least 25 to 40,000. Venue is going to be 4,000 and catered, all the bullshit. But those are the issues. Stay out of debt. If you get married, you're going to have to work your ass off. She's going to want a bigger house, unless you're making a shit ton of money, right? Multi-millions, or you started a company. But the reality of people that start successful tech companies are very few and far between. So if you have a software idea, great, but the reality of that becoming the next Google or the next Microsoft or Facebook is extremely rare. Rare. Getting into a company that gives you options, stock options were the big thing around 99, 2000. Remember that? I'll get all these internet stock. I actually worked for a company and I got 20,000. I think I bought stock. I think it was like for cheap, and Oracle bought the company and it turned into about 20 grand. I bought my options for about $200. But that was how I got lucky. I forgot about him, but the company got bought by Oracle. Go figure. So, but those are very rare instances. The quickest way is to not spend, to not get in debt, to buy quality items, and to live below your means as much as possible. Europe, if you're single, you can level up hard in money and health. Absolutely. I mean, Scotty side, those guys, FJTs. I mean, FJT's 30 years old. He's already paid his house off. I mean, he didn't buy a multi-bazillion-dollar house. He bought a house that, what was a good deal and a good investment for him. He's paid it off. He's worked his ass off 2-3 years and was able to throw money at that. So all that money now that he would have spent on a mortgage is going into the bank and compounding and compounding and compounding. If you guys understand compounding interest, that is the key right there. That is how Warren Buffett got rich. That and making quality decisions about what people wanted to buy and investing in those companies. Europe is absolutely right. Our real health is wealth. A lot of these guys work their ass off, they're 100 hours a week, make a shit ton of money, they're CEOs, and they die 2 years after retirement because their health is gone. So 100%, your health is first and foremost. And a lot of that health is related to stress, and stress is caused by the pressure mounting of being able to take care of your, your estate, being able to pay the mortgage, being able to pay the bills, pay the insurance, pay the utilities, pay the food. That when that stress goes away, it's a great feeling when one has no debt. Megatron, quality over quantity. I always say, attaboy. Start the next Google or Facebook, just sacrifice all your morals and get in bed with government. You're not wrong. I think Google and those companies definitely are in bed with the government. What can you do if you're sick or injured? Great question. Well, if you're in sickness, there's ways that I believe the power of the body can heal itself through different sauna, cold plunging, fasting, things like that. So if you're in a wheelchair, I saw a guy in a van. He lives in a van and he's in a wheelchair. He's able to do it. So there's things that you can do and to get back in shape. But I would say health, get in best shape as you can, start eating well, and so forth. It's his house. She can't take his house away as long as he will not marry her. There you go. John says minimize to grow. Don't go out and buy a $100,000 F-150. Can you believe how much trucks are now? Go out and buy a 10 to 12-year-old one. And I would say go with a Toyota or a Honda because they have better reliability. Stress is caused 80% by women and 20% by work. Well said, brother. To grow, you got to minimize to grow. Absolutely. As an older man, you never made that take home. You made 10% and invested that in VOO or FXAIX was the S&P. VOO is the S&P ETF at Vanguard. You always take your 401k match. That's free money from your employer. Yes. If they offer you 4%, then you put in 4%. Always do what they will match. Free money. Possessions own us in the end. Well said, Otto. Will Murphy, women never give you energy. They only take it away. Most of them do. Timothy Sokol from San Pedro. Good to see you. Take your vitamins and protein. A lot of health improvement comes through difficult things, but they don't become difficult once you get used to them. Like fasting, like understanding the power of the fast, the power of sauna, the power of putting your body in stress. Exercise, walking is amazing. When it's time to go, don't be selfish and let them go. There you go. Great motto. I'm Chad and I'm not dating anyone. No coffee dates. If she comes to my place, if not, I will delete her number. I'm only paying for family and close friends. There you go. So we talk about debt. Don't go and buy brand new cars. That's a waste of money. Unless you're flowing with money, you don't give a damn. Especially new things. Don't buy at the height. Buy at discount. Let somebody else. My dad always said, let somebody else take the hit if they buy a new car. I've always bought a car that was 4 years old because I knew, I bought my Toyota 4Runner in 17. It was 4 years old, 2013. I paid 28 for it, 60,000 miles. It was the limited. And I could probably still sell it today for 22. But that original sticker was 50,000. So it was almost half off, and I'm still fine. It's been a wonderful car. I learned from Lycus, it's called an FU fund, save 1 year bills no matter how much it hurts, and no one will tell you how to live. There you go. That's another thing. Have money in reserves. Be able to withdraw that money. Cancel my wedding 2 months in advance in 2015. Learned about Midtown Bitcoin after that. Dumped everything in Bitcoin between. Ooh, good for you. Retired at 37. Jorn. Good for you, brother. Alucard, 1776. My cacao trees are the same at this time. Can I use a sonic charge on the PUA roach? There you go. Cook at home. Drink coffee at home. Yeah, this is the normies they'll eat out every day. Now, I have no problem eating out lunch, but I don't need to do it every day. And I cannot believe how I don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee guy, but boy, those Starbucks coffees are what, $4, $4 or $5? And I see people drinking them twice a day. Add that money. I told my sons that. I said, every time you go out to eat, $10, that's $300 a month. You put that's $3,600 a year. You put that in a fund, and that's going to start growing. Now, we also have to realize that when we get a paycheck, we should at least spend 10% on us. But go buy yourself a new pair of shoes if you want. But don't spend the whole check, right? Figure out a way to lower your expenses, but by enjoying life. Buy quality things that'll last. Buy quality clothing, quality vehicle, quality furniture that is going to go the distance. And us men, we don't need to replenish and decorate the house every 6 months like ladies do. Mine would always do that. Every year there's a new duvet and a duvet cover every 6 months. And those aren't cheap either. A couple $100. We don't need that much. We're probably still sleeping. I'm still sleeping on, well, no, not really. I was, and I got some new sheets, but they're quality sheets. I don't need 7 different colors of sheets. You screwed up your shoulder. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Best thing to do, fast for it. Fast and ice. Hopefully you don't have to have surgery like a rotator cuff. It's $300K with curl math. There you go. Invest in a good thermos and lunchbox. There, great, man. What, $40, $50 for that? Right? John sleeps on 7-count thread. Oh, man. Yeah, I do the wash once a week. I still have a pillow that I sleep on from 2009. It was one of those expensive pillows I got when we bought our mattress back when we were still married, and they gave me this $80 pillow. It was great. Dax in the house. Good to see you, brother. Duvet cover. He knows what I'm talking about. Or the towels, or the throw pillows, or the picnic sets, or there was always new plates. It was just, you can't satisfy. So no wonder. Now, luckily in my situation, I ran the financial checkbook, so I knew where all the money went. And I would get pissed if, it was, do we really need that again? And that's probably why we were able to divorce with a decent, nest egg, because we didn't spend it on stupid stuff. Well, I didn't. I had to tell her certain things. Drink in a stainless steel cup. Get away from that BPA plastic situation. Bedding gear, and I managed to get my hands on a mini dehydrator, some silver and gold, plus a tire or two. Attaboy. That's why I bought 3 sets of Egyptian bed sheets. They're 14 years old and still look new. See, there you go. We don't need a lot as men. We really don't. Box springs are for the elite. I don't have a box spring. I just have my bed frame was like $80 on Amazon. It's just a metal frame. You just throw and my mattress was $250. I bought a $250 mattress off Amazon. It's a, you know, what do you call it? Latex or whatever. I think all of my furniture right now is probably $800 total in the whole house. Good to see One Mighty and Strong in the chat. You caught one. There's Gone with John's channel. Appreciate that, Dak. The biggest joke of all is my friends that are married ask their wives for permission to buy anything. Yeah. So let's talk about that. We remove a lot of these expenses, which happen to do with women, or buying stupid things, or going into debt to impress others. We don't need to impress anybody when you understand this knowledge, this awareness. We only need to take care of ourselves. The quicker we can grow our money, the better. Now, let's talk about where to live. Where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the United States? Do you want to live in Mexico? Do you want to live in Asia? It all depends, right? There are definite advantages of living in foreign countries that are cheaper, because you can live for $1,000, $1,200. I mean, do the math. Let's just say it costs you $20,000 to live wonderful, and you can watch all the videos you want, but you can find apartments for $200 or less in Asia, Thailand, and so forth. Now, I've seen some really nice ones in Da Nang. I've seen some really bad ones, but take a month and if you go someplace, check out the area. There are cheaper places to live. Tam cushions, decorative towels. Yep, you remember. Tupperware. There you go. Learn to cook, clean, sew, and $10 goes a hell of a lot further. Well said. Gerald Montani's in the chat. Good to see you. I sleep on cushions from an old couch. There you go. Big Chris, don't the women know that by elevating the men will elevate women? Because rich men don't mind taking in a broke woman, but a rich woman will never take in a broke man. Well, I don't think you're mistaken there. So if you find a place to live, that's great. In Mexico, La Paz especially, there are apartments that are literally furnished, and a lot of these places in other countries are furnished. I don't think Europe has a lot of furnished, but I really haven't checked. Asia, Mexico, South Central America, you can find places in very nice areas that are $300 to $400 a month furnished. Okay, in Mexico. In Vietnam, I've seen places for $160 to $300, and these are nice looking apartments. They're studio apartments. Again, if you're retired and you don't have a woman, your kids might come and visit you. If you have kids, maybe a couple times, once a year, what have. If you need to get a hotel, get a hotel. But in the meantime, you can live one bedroom apartment, studio apartment. Less is more. I live in a house. It's almost 1,900 square feet, 4 bedrooms. I bought it because obviously my kids were coming back and forth, and my son was, and I got some appreciation out of it. But it's too big. I live in literally this room in my bedroom, in the garage, in the kitchen when I make whatever. Invest in good kitchen equipment and cook at home nice meals, pizza, burgers, and other nice meals. Yeah, can save a lot. The money they spend on diet programs like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig. I put in 2 weeks of overtime and bought a proper bed, and only I sleep there. Damn good. Well, very good, brother. I mean, again, invest in sleep. That's probably something you want to invest in. Invest in a good sleeping platform that works for you. Because if you're tired all day, then being retired doesn't do you damn thing. So, again, living, to me, even living, so we understand that the rents in the United States right now are pretty much out of control in a lot of states. I mean, around here, when I moved out into my apartment back in 2016, it was $1,250 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, which was pretty good. Now it's $1,900 to $2,200. That's a lot of money for a 2-bedroom, 950 square foot apartment. That's me. Studios are now $1,200. So, that's still expensive, but there are other areas that you could go within your state, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes away, a smaller area that is cheaper, maybe $800, $900. And you can live, I think a decent man, I think for 20 grand, if you're living in Mexico in good areas, not touristy areas, you're going to pay an arm and a leg, but local areas, you can literally live like a king on 20 grand in Mexico per year, $1,500 a month. Is that 1850? You can live for 800 a month. I've done the math. I know the places in certain places. Now, they're not Cabos. They're not Cancuns. They're normal places where you can have a life close to the beach, close to, all sorts of things. Big Chris, I don't need much. Just peace, quiet, and freedom. Attaboy. Jenny Craig is a joke. Whatever happened to her? Gone with John. What a great example for men. We're seeing woke food now. The woke virus ate all the women's brains, right? Most of them. It's common for women to secretly take out credit in the man's name without him knowing. Well said, Turd. Good to have you. Live small and you will live large. 100%, John. I can sleep anywhere as long as I have a tent, a bedroll, and a sleeping bag. There you go. Female affection isn't free. You are required to pay for continued relations. Even the best-looking guys may get free samples, but eventually they will have to pay for them. Well said, One Mighty and Strong. Dan Patrick in the chat. What's going on to you, brother? Glad you're here. I've always rented. I don't buy toilet faucets or roofing. It doesn't get fixed. There you go. Men need to wake up. She only wants us when you become a millionaire. Love doesn't cost a penny. Go watch the movie Acrimony. That exactly sums it up. 8675309. Tommy Two-Tone. Dak. My mother did that to my father. He wasn't happy about the bill. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to watch your credit. I was a hawk on her going through that divorce. So I made sure nothing was popping on my credit report. But I knew she wouldn't do it either. Only female species on this planet that want maximum amounts of resources are the human type. There you go. Look at animals. How do they live? Minimalistically. She got eaten by a woke zombie. Yep. So you're looking at places to live. In the States, if you're living, go to I would say go to a red state. Red states are always going to be cheaper than blue states. Well, the majority. Here's another idea if you're going to stay in the States. Even getting an RV on a piece of land. You can go buy a piece of land somewhere for cheap. It might be 20 miles away and throw an RV on it, a used RV for 40 grand. You can still finance that RV as a home. So maybe you got a $25,000 to $75,000 piece of land and you got a $40,000 RV or a $50,000, whatever. It's used, but it's still good, whatever, or a small home. You can find them. So let's just say you're 50 grand for the land, 50 grand, you're 100 grand, you can finance that. I don't know if it went down, it'd be cheap taxes, and it would be very cheap if you got well water and stuff like that. But you can live cheap that way. You don't have to spend $400,000, $500,000 enslaved to a home while your HOAs and property taxes go up. You're going to be a little ways out, or maybe some guy just wants to parcel off his land and you can go buy a piece of it. There's all things you can do in terms of owning something if you want to own that. Living in a van. People live in camper vans, truck campers. That also presents its own issues. Obviously, you've got to find places to put it. But you could also live in a truck camper on a piece of land you bought. The biggest wealth is your peace. Imagine you are opening your doors daily and no nagging 304 at your place. There you go. We should keep credit cards away from them fembots. That's another thing. If you have credit cards, you pay them off every month. Get the points, get the miles, what have you. Farmers markets are good places for good quality food for the most part. She wants the lifestyle she can't afford, and she wants the lifestyle to impress others. A lot of women are into impressing them other people. They need validation and attention. I can buy an acre for 10K in Cali, just have to live in the desert. Yeah, that's the only thing. If the infrastructure there, you got water and utilities, and you're down with it. But the cheaper land will be outside of city limits. Again, maybe 20, 30, 40 miles. There's places out here outside of southern, about a place called Benjamin, Utah, 20 minutes from Spanish Fork, where, there's a Costco and things. But you can get a piece of land for not too much. Not too much. Timothy lived out of 2 duffel bags for years, but I had an uncle support system. I work hard and I like nice things because I'm worth it. Yeah, a lot of guys are doing that. Look at Brandon Trueblood. He's trucking and he lives in it. He's been doing it 2 years now, and he lives in his truck, and you guarantee he's stacking cash, and he's at mid-50s, 56, I think. So if he does that for 10 years or 8 years, and he's dumping 50 grand a year in the savings, or if not more, just hypothetical, 5 years, he's got 250. That's growing. I mean, he's seeing a lot of, what you call it, that money grow, because he's not spending it on utilities. He's not spending it on HOA, taxes. I'm planning to be mobile. When I'm mobile, I'll be free. I think mobile is absolutely that's why I'm never going to buy another house. And I'm going to rent in Mexico. You can do 1 month rents. And if I don't like it, I'll go to Nicaragua. If I don't like it, I'll backpack. Who cares? If I ever want a place to just stay stationary, I've done that for 30 something years. I was married. But if I do, I know where to go. I can go find an apartment in the States somewhere that's, cheaper. I don't think I would ever be retired, but at least I won't be spending money over useless things and pleasing the unpleasable. Good to see you, Betty. Well said. I just can't wait for the next growing season. I have a nice spot on my property. Fresh grown veggies for $300. Brandon Trueblood, there you are. Looking at West Virginia, biggest bang for your buck. Yeah, I thought you were 56, 57. But yeah, I mean, people are doing that all the time. Interesting how boys are taught by females from the time they enter preschool. These females place burdens on boys by directly or indirectly teaching them to protect, coddle, and serve the ladies. There you go. Arvero is 62. I thought you were younger than that, but hey, you're probably a young 62-year-old. New International Bible. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome wife. 100%. Carl, every man needs to Google rich, dead, or broke calculator. Really puts things in perspective. There's a lot of channels out there. Now, you're not going to have the same life that you have when you retire, because again, you want to preserve capital, but you also don't want to waste capital. You want to find ways to live extremely good for extremely cheap. Well said. Who's got the best? It's all about who's got the best house. 23 in reverse. I wanted a multi-big mansion when I was 22, like all the rest of these people. And now I look at it, I go, they're just 4 walls and a roof, adorned light fixtures coming from the ceilings, different colors, maybe some wainscot, a nice island. There's nothing special about houses at the end of the day. My plan is after I pay off debts, I'd start saving $25K a year, and by the time I'm around 60, I would retire to India. Attaboy. You can retire earlier than that once those kids are grown. Anything worth having is worth working, but work for you first. Well said, brother. Marvel Elite. Work and save so you can invest in gold and silver and start your own business, because companies will never care about you. I bought gold coins in 2007. They were I paid $1,200 a coin because they were 1895 coins. So they had and now just the gold in that is $2,600. And if you add on the rarity of the coin, that adds another $300 to $400, if not more, to the coin. I wish I would have bought 20 coins, but I gave half of them. I had to give half of them away. I only bought, I think I bought 6 coins back then. Gave 3. Yeah. Don't waste your money on expensive clothes or eating out. Don't date women if you really want to save your money. Yeah. Women have consumed a lot of men's assets. I want peace in a shop to build stuff. There you go. Well, Brandon also lived in a piece of property at one point before you got into trucking. I remember that. Yes, I can, but right now I'm doing okay, not bad. My rent is $700 with bills. It's about $1,000, and my net is around $5K a month. There you go. So you're living on, with food and everything, probably 40%, 35 to 45%. which is good. Most people are living on they're negative. They're negative every month. They make it 10,000, they spend 11,000. I mean, they're living off credit cards because they haven't figured out a way to impress themselves yet. And I'm very impressed with myself by how much I save every month. I love to use 2-for-1 coupons. When I take my boys, well, we'll go and eat good food, but usually I like to find deals. I mean, let's go get pizzas, but let's go to the let's do the special. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's free money. You take a gal on a date and use a coupon, she gets all whacked up and say, it's free money. Buy one entree and 2 drinks to get an entree free. Do it all the time. I mean, it's, you know, buy things on sale. Buy things on Black Friday has wonderful deals at Quicksilver.com. I love Quicksilver outfit clothing that fit me well. It's quality for me. And I can get a t-shirt for $9.99 when they sell for $30 on, you know, during the market season. I never buy retail clothing. Always on sale. Go to Ross, go to Marshall's. Even Costco had really good deals when I went to Costco on clothing. Well said, creepy Robsta. Most people do not have $400 for an emergency. Yes. And that's another thing. You need to have at least minimum 6 months of living expenses saved up. My sons are just fine being with me. They don't want to waste money. They don't want to buy. Oh, boys don't need anything. You know what they want? A dad to take them fishing. You know, fishing pole is $25. You can go dig the worms for free. I mean, you know, and they love that all day long. We don't need a lot. Men don't need a lot. Women need a lot. Their health is different. They desire more materials, makeup, all that crap. They're always changing. That's just women. We're talking about what do men need? Very little. So we talked about growing our money. All right. Now, I'm not saying go run to, you know, people, there's idiots, men that run to Philippines or Thailand with $100,000 or 60 years old, and they waste it. So they have no money. I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying you can, I would say minimum. If you have no debt, there are people doing it today that have retired on $250,000, but they've retired and they put that money to work on a dividend producing fund. So they're getting $1,000 a month right now through dividends on that money. So they're able to live off the dividends, or the majority, maybe do a side hustle. And I'm not saying to retire. I'm saying retire from the rat race. If you still want to earn money and write a book or run a website, that's a completely different idea. I'm just saying getting out of the rat race, of paying all this overhead and, you know, taxes and HOA. The less money you make, the less taxes you'll pay in the United States. You know, if you make 50 grand or under as a single man, you're going to pay a lot less in tax. You're probably going to be in that 12% or maybe 20% bracket. But you're going to be able to pay less taxes and illegally because your deductions will be different. Yeah, the license is, I think the license in Utah for that creepy is like $12. My son just got one. And it's great. I love it. He's taking his fishing pole. His grandfather got him. My dad got him, and he's fishing with his buddies, and he's learning something. Peace, quiet, and freedom. All my sons want me to go camping, fishing, video games. Yeah, they love that stuff. Remember, we used to take our kids camping, man. I love camping. The ex didn't, but we did it for the kids, and they loved it when they were little. Running around, making s'mores, making fires. We always made sure we always stayed at a campsite next to a river. We love to hear the river. Men are like toasters and women are like accordions. Men age like wine and women age like milk. Do the math. Timothy Sokol. Trading was a good system. Well, the problem with trades, and we got some traders on here, if you're good at it and you have a knack for it, that's fine. I mean, the best time to have bought Facebook would have been during COVID when it dropped 40, 50% like the rest of them. I remember I bought Delta stock and then it went up, you know, 6 months later and I doubled my money, but those are very rare circumstances. We're talking about preservation of income. And now if you have like 50 grand you want to mess around with, go for it. Go buy Apple. Go buy, you know, a risky stock, you know, spend a little money. I'm not that type anymore. I want my money to grow, and I made 10 to 12%. It's getting 4.8% in the bank right now, but 10 to 12% over time is doing well. I won't probably ever have to touch. You know, I want to get to a point where I never have to touch the principal, that I just live off the interest and live off half of the interest. You know what I'm saying? By the time most men realize that females are the cheese in the mouse, they are already stuck in the mousetrap, and society won't allow them to escape. Ain't that the truth? That's another thing, man. When you have this awareness, you want to buy quality things, you want to be out of debt, you want to have money, you want to live on as less as possible. You make $10,000 a month, try to live on $2,000 of it. Just dump the $8,000. Number one, you have to pay, you know, you might have a tax bill at the end of the year, but you're going to see that interest go. I mean, within 3 or 4 years, if you're living as minimalistically in the States or wherever, that money is growing. That is a good thing. My coworker bought her daughter, who's 15, a new iPhone. That's another thing. My phone is almost 4 years old. It'll be 4 years old in January. I bought it on a Black Friday deal because the color was an iPhone. It was black. People don't like black phone. The back of the phone is black. It's in an otter box. Who cares? You can't even see the color. I got it for like 80% less, brand new, because it was black. That's another thing. You know, if you buy a phone, use it for 4 to 5 years if you're going to spend that kind of money. Don't buy in once a year and upgrade unless it's free for your carrier. Someone I know used an Aztec whistle at his workplace when he was off, scared the shizzle out of 3 people. Wow. If I get those boomsticks in Cali, I'll be put on a blank watch list. Interesting. Take women out of the equation, and you'd be surprised how simple it gets. At the end of the day, it's spend less than you earn and invest the rest. For most, it's the challenge of spending less. Wants versus needs mentality. Most can't check themselves. Here's another thing. Well said, Carl. Carl's looking at Asia, too, to retire. He's my age. There you go, an XR. Good for you. You're going on 6 years. I'm going to try. I put a new battery in mine for $60 last year, but I'm going to try and go 5 to 6 years as long as I can. Females can't distinguish luxuries from necessities. Anything they desire is necessity. Creepy says, I'll never get an iPhone. You know what's interesting? The reason I got the iPhone, my kids had it, and I could text them when I was out of the country on the messenger, the iOS messenger, and it was cheaper than any Android. I've had Android. I've also had the Windows phone. My favorite phone was by far the Windows Nokia phone, but that went out. It's now Android. I have nothing against Android or iPhone. It is what it is. Yeah, iPhone is more Skittles, but so is Google. Google's got a lot of Skittles in it. They promote that Skittles. So, but it's neither here nor there. Just don't waste money on technology. Technology is obsolete the moment you buy it. Cars are obsolete the moment you buy them. There's a new model in the works. People become slave and in debt to technology. Find something that works for you and stick it and get 4 or 5 years out of it. 15 years old, attaboy, the old, and your health is much better on an older phone without all this smart crap, all these stupid applications. Good for you, Arvero. Place females in the equation, and you won't be surprised how complicated things will get for absolute. Yeah. Remove the women from your health improves, your wealth improves, your security improves, your safety improves. I got iPhone because of their system. I use Mac. I have a Mac. I'm actually on a Mac right now. I think the Macs are great. I also have a Windows laptop. But no, yeah, it integrates. And I don't use phone unless it's for work. There you go. So let's talk about living in a different country. So mobile is good. Obviously, mobile, if you're going to go mobile in a van or a nice SUV or a camper van, you want to make sure you get a quality one that doesn't break down, and understand that there are going to be costs costs associated with driving that van. Insurance, upkeep, maintenance, shit breaks. You know, I had my smartphone for over 4 years till I had to upgrade. There you go. My last one before that, I had it for 4 years. Any young man here know if you ever go to a prawn site with your phone, they use keystroke tech to know everything about you. Yep, I've heard that. Internal validation is not dependent upon external factors. Well said, Brandon. Been using a generic flip phone for 3 years. It rings. I take it with pics and text, no problem. $12 a month, attaboy. My toilet got unclogged, passed emissions on my old Ford Escape, picked up the flip phone because there you go. Wolf. They want us to be slaves to consumerism. That's really that simple. We're all doomed. That's why they don't like men like us. Radical Rafter, good to see you. They don't like us because we are living outside the system. We are rebelling against it. Still using, look at you, go old school. I remember I got phone shamed by a gal years ago on a date. You're using that iPhone SE? It was the original. I go, it fit in my hand perfectly. It was the best form factor. I could use one finger to do it all. And people shame people with phones. That's what skateboard posers did back in the day. What kind of board do you have? Well, that board sucks. No, it's not the board, you dipshit. It's the rider. Now drop it on the ramp. They couldn't drop it on the ramp. So what else? So if you're living in so van life, obviously, if I was a van lifer, I would drive and stay 2 to 4 weeks at one location. And I would have it. I wouldn't drive to Alaska, then to Florida. And I would spend in the wintertime being summer area, warmer areas, the wintertime or the summertime go in, the mountain areas where it's cooler. And I would stay there 2 to 4 weeks, probably 4 weeks at most, so that you minimize your gas, have some sort of maybe an electric bicycle to get around town or whatever, wherever you're parked, so you don't have to use the gas in your deal, and figure out a way to minimize the costs. MGTOW men are ungovernable. We sure are, Timothy. Wow, 2019 impressive. About the best I can get is 4 years. Yeah, a lot of times they're slowing down the service and so forth. These big companies like Apple, and I don't know if Google does it, but Apple likes to obsolete their phones quick. I haven't upgraded my software for, I think, 1.5 years. 3 flip phones on standby. Attaboy. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, said no female ever. My phone never lasts more than 1 year. Some phones are crap. Blending in, merging with everybody else, doing things to be polite, not wanting to be offensive, not wanting to be perceived as being politically incorrect. You have to go with your own flow. Well said. Apple releases new phone every year thanks to women. Of course, they want the new one with the new sparkly cases. If you're offending people unintentionally, you're doing something right. Johnny Lydon, there you go. Who caused the epidemic in the first place? I wonder who. If you did van life, you go spend 3 months in a part of the country, find it yeah, absolutely. Don't be driving that damn thing every 600 miles a day. That's going to put on wear and tear, and you're using it as a mobile unit, but not as like every single freaking day. Go spend 3 weeks in San Diego, 4 weeks in Mexico, Arizona. Be around that area. Women in America are so horrible to the men that retirement is going to be a breeze for the man because the men are going to be rich and comfortable. Another thing, women have majority of women have a lot of health issues later in life, osteoporosis. Their bodies don't, and look, there are dipshit men that don't take care of themselves. And that's another thing we need to be aware of. Our health is important. We can spend a lot of money on our health if we don't take care of it. It's always a female that clowns a guy for his phone. Yep, that's how petty they are. Creepy robs to yep, and still have a working phone that is older than 2019. That's awesome. A lot of posers out there. WHO, nothing like a $1,000 car note, a $400 iPhone payment. That's another thing. And rent. The average car payment today is $790. That is almost a rent payment for a car that is a depreciating asset. You can find a nice car for 20 grand or less. A nice Toyota, a nice Lexus, nice Honda, nice Acura. Don't buy Nissans. Unfortunately, the newer Nissans are built by Renault. I had a Datsun growing up, which is a Nissan corporation, but they haven't gone very well lately. They have a really bizarre transmission that breaks. I could be wrong though. When the lights go out, feminism will go out right along with it. I need a job, might join the local synagogue of big noses. You can work, yeah, you can work 20 hours a week. For what it's worth, I like cheap RV. Yeah, I like Bob's channel as well as Forest Van Life. Both show how it can be done and done well. There's a lot of channels out there, Carl, that he watches and I watch. If males aren't strong enough not to give females in a gynocentric world an inch, they will take miles and miles off your life and dreams. There you go. I am teaching my sons, if you cannot pay cash for the things you want to have, you do not deserve it. So my dad said, it's by backup phone just in case this one fries. Yeah, I have a backup phone. CJ, my only bill is food. There you go, brother. He's living the life. Had an LG that replaced its internals, but now with most phones you can't. Yeah, but most of these batteries are internal. They're difficult to change out by yourself. Scotty, yep. I like Scotty Kilmer. He's funny. Our Vero saved a ton of money on smartphones. Coach Greg, by going with this Sonam XP. Coach Greg Adams calls the Nissan Ultimate. Yes. They're used. They got a lot of people that have high or bad credit, so they have high interest through the Nissan Motor Corporation. My knee is still F from the skating, but I cannot wait to go at it again. That's the total FU of flip phone in front of a date. Van people are victims these days. There's danger in every corner. Yes, that's another thing. Security. Glad you brought that up. So you should probably study the van life, maybe do it for a weekend somewhere. If you had a van, you could actually rent some vans too. You can rent a Sprinter van that's already decked out for $125 a night. Go do it for a week. If you hate it, I'm going to drive down to Baja in my 4Runner. Here's another thing. You need Mexican insurance for a full year of full coverage Mexican insurance through some of these sites. Baja bound, I think it's like $450. It includes towing, collision, all that. And that's for a year in Mexico. If you're around 20 to 22 and make around 80K and live minimum, you can retire before around 40. Absolutely. Now, kids and divorce are going to throw a fork into that big time. But you can get to that point. Feminism has completely destroyed the women's ability to look and act desirable to men. Nothing wrong there. You can't rent a female for about $150 an hour. No, you can't. Hey, Rad, I heard from a previous stream you had your truck bulletproof. Bulletproof. I don't know how did I say bulletproof? No, I think my transmission, the Toyota transmission is pretty damn bulletproof. That's what I probably meant. A penis-shaped phone wolf. Come on, man. Don't van life in the Yosemite. And yeah, I mean, you got to be stealth. That's another thing. I would live in my 4Runner and stealth it. Just make it look like it's not a camper. Camper vans are definitely targets. So you want to be around caravans of people. That's another chance. Again, I haven't done it, so I don't know, but that's another way to live frugally in a van. But you need to look at our cheap RV living, figure out where to do it. You work remote. There you go, Betty. That's good. Bolo, Starlink opens up van life and work from home. Sure does. Good to see Bolo from Canada. In Mexico, you can own a beachfront property for nothing. It's just the violence and danger is always there. Yeah, you want to go to places that, luckily I've lived in South America and I've been to Mexico so many times and all over. I speak the language. I understand where to go and where not to go and how to do it. But yeah, there's always security and safety issues. Yeah, absolutely. You bombed a hill. You can't step off it prematurely, bro. What are you talking about? Every woman I talk to above 35 is angry. They are short-tempered, tired, bad-mouthed. My ex-wife was a typical woman. So was mine. You can rent certain females for $150 an hour. You know, there's a sex doll brothel in Portland that you can go rent a sex real doll. Look it up. I think it's probably cheaper to rent a real doll. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about ways to retire early, let your money grow for you. Rad, how much can you retire on? Depends. 250K you can, I think. Make sure that money's growing in a nice S&P index or ETF fund. Live minimalistically. And, you know, again, here's another thing. Let's say you retire at 50. And you decide that retirement, you just want to do something. You go back and work. You can do it all over again. Go live it. But stay busy. A lot of retirees, they die within the first 2 to 4 years. They're not doing anything. They're just withering away. You got to do things. You got to enjoy life. Yeah, a lot of the cartels. There's a movie about that, WHO, about them up in Northern California, Humboldt area. MGTOW will bring peace to the whole entire world once and for all. We hope so. Whatever you tell, do not tell people you're MGTOW. They won't understand it. Just live your life with peace, quiet, and freedom. Sex dolls are I've never seen a sex doll. I've seen them on the internet, but grow your own food and learn how to hunt and fish. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I would never do that. No way. Get a harem of gook girls in Vietnam. Da Nang, Vietnam. Big worlds in Da Nang. Live minimalistically, but don't eat pets like Blaine. SCE, good to see Master Wrench here. A lot of people go missing from Yosemite. Yeah, if you read David Pilates' Missing 411, there's some real crazy stuff. So, and another thing, if you're van life, and I would probably not do it in areas that are really solo, like nobody knows where you're at. I would try to be as stealth as possible. You can YouTube stealth van living, where people live in like SUVs and vans, and they look like normal vans, like normal cars. They don't draw attention. I want a woman president. Quit being selfish, Carl. But yes, you do need something. I'm on a wheelchair, but I know if I stop being active, I would just wither away. We have to do things to keep ourselves occupied. They've asked me what I'll do. I'm like, volunteer to teach English. I'll meet people that way. I'll meet the community. I'll do things. I might even start a little business. Who knows? A little tourism business, bringing in people. Or I might spend a year learning how to surf. Yes, they did in Ensenada. Unfortunately, they were staying in an area. It wasn't the cartels. It was a couple of whacked out, 3 of them. And they wanted the vehicle's tires, and the 3 guys said no, so they deleted them and threw them in a pit. But yeah, you're right. You got to be careful. And I think they were parking in an area they shouldn't have been parking at. A woman stopped by to say hello. To the very moment she opened my apartment, she was shocked how clean and empty it was. There you go. $25 a week for a year is $1,300. Yeah. Yeah, I like John Krakauer. I've read Under the Banner of Heaven, Into Thin Air. He's good stuff. The Everest Tragedy. Rab, what would you do if you didn't get married? Start a band? I probably would have been skating. Identity politics for $400, an extra $100. There you go. Learning how to surf. I'd love to do that. It rained here. We're going to get some rain this week. We're going to see the 80s, the 80-degree weather we've had we've had the warmest, I think, October ever. Or go pet dolphins. North California is run by, stay out of Humboldt and weed. Teach women in Vietnam penis pleasure technique. I believe 90% of men's lives are destroyed chasing peacefully. They would have done so much with their lives, and women, yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of us, luckily, those men that have been married or come out of relationships that are here today that have been consistent are seeing the fruits of their their awareness and digesting the red pill pay off. Yeah, that was a really good, I think they did a series on that too on Netflix, One Mighty and Strong. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Get ready. Be careful of the cuffing season. So that's another thing. Like people say, hey, Rad, you're going to drive to Mexico. Absolutely. But I'm not going to just park off at the end of the road. I'm going to go where I have the iOverlander app. I'm going to be in the areas where a lot of van lifers are, where there's security. Maybe there's campgrounds you can get $10 a night that are safe, have showers and things like that. And so I'm not the type that you got to blend in. If you're by yourself in the middle of Mexico in an area you shouldn't be in, or you don't know anything about, and you get deleted, it's because you're an idiot. Again, you need to blend in life. And if you're going to do this, these van lifers that have these like, just their vans are like totally decked out. It's a camper van. I mean, they're targets. So I'm more about being stealth. Put my seats down in my 4Runner, I can sleep in it. Have a little cooler, have a Jackery, have the things I need, have it tinted, or have the, the blocked out, they can't see in. So, those are the things you can do. Now, my goal is to be mobile. So I will rent an apartment for a month. If I like it, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll go somewhere else. That's what I want. And if I really like it, maybe I get into a 6 months or a year lease. Who knows? If I travel, I'm going to do in Asia. I want to go to Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, all those areas, maybe South Korea. Spend 4 or 5 months doing that and just staying in very cheap hotels. Wolfgang, you'd great. He'd be the best, the porn star. Little beach homes in tourist areas, and just absolutely. Most of the Mexico is fine, just like USA. I cannot go downtown after dark in Cleveland or Democrat cities. Yeah. There's sketchy areas in Utah you just don't go into. You got to be smart. It used to be cool. You could go down there. Yeah, look, you stay out of the way of cartels. You don't go to their areas. Sinaloa, Michoacan, no. I mean, go to areas where they don't run they do run, I think they have an influence on the country. But a lot of their family lives in the Baja Peninsula. And they work in tourism. So they don't want gringos not coming down. You just stay away from them. Especially across Texas, there's some sketchy areas there. That's another thing, talking about getting through Mexico, how to do it. Many people don't actually believe people will actually try and rob them until it happens. Awareness of surroundings is key. That is 100% correct right there, brother. And awareness of culture is another thing. I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. The women made my decision to become MGTOW, the easiest decision I have ever made in 41 years. Good for you, Big Chris. And you've been here for a while, too. I like New Mexico a lot, but the bish I was stuck with. New Mexico, what part? Taos? Santa Fe? Albuquerque? I'd rather be adopted by a dogman than date a modern woman. Alucard. I like Himalayan mountains in India. They are affordable and simple. I would love to go spend 6 months in the Himalayas and go to Nepal and Kashmir and all those places. That's another thing. You can travel and put that stuff in storage and live out of a backpack and go live in little hotels and little areas. I did that for 2 months in 1996. And then I came back and I met my ex-wife. Damn it. I should have stayed down there. But I spent 2 months and I stayed with a couple people I knew, and I traveled the country. In Venezuela, I went all over for two months. I lived there before in 91 and 93, and I went back. And it was wonderful. Lived out of I took 3 t-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of shoes, 1 pair of flip-flops, underwear, my deodorant, my contact lenses, and that was it. And I lived for 2 months. Attaboy, Santa Fe, and Taos. Let me know, Rad. I have family there and you can stay. I'd love to, Betty. Thank you for that invitation. K, plan in the house. That's another thing. Pat Drop, I'm new on this channel. Hello from Israel. Be safe out there, brother. I would love to visit Israel. But I think right now it might be a little dangerous. Good to have you, Pat Drop. What do you see over there in Israel in terms of relationships? Do you see the same things that we're seeing? I don't think I've had anybody from Israel that has. I might have had somebody as a subscriber, but no one has said anything, Pat Drop. They would love to have you in their house. My mother is very. I would love. I love meeting new people, and I would stay with absolutely a family member of somebody. At least the rich biatch was paying my way while suffering with her crazy ass. I'm telling my mommy on you. But again, the good thing about retiring early, if it doesn't work out, unless you're an idiot and blow it all on some Filipino women or a Thai woman that steals from you, you can always go back to earning more money. You can always go back to the life you had before. I'm saying retire from the rat race, retire from the pressure of paying HOA and utilities and high car payments and all that crap, and be free and see what opens up. You might be bored. It might be hard for somebody to do that. Now, I've done certain things like that. I've spent time away in foreign countries. I speak another language, so I'm a little bit versed, but I also have the desire to live this way of living. Now, if I get down there and 6 months later, I'm like, this sucks. I want my Mountain Dew. I want to be able to go to 7-Eleven at midnight. I don't know if I will. I mean, I might really, my kids are 19, 23, and 20, almost 26. Well, 26 in next year. They're moved on. They're launched. They're doing their thing. So if I want to be around them, or maybe I'm 70, I want to be around if I have grandkids at that point, who knows? But I'm really excited about this. I'm trying to get this damn house sold. I did look up crime statistics in certain states, Timothy. I was surprised on some of them. I have respect for you, but over here we don't really like Christians. We consider them as pagan. They worship a man, not the real God. Well, yeah, I understand the Jewish tradition. You do not worship. You do not view Jesus as a savior. You view him as, I think, a teacher or maybe prophet. But I respect Israel people. I believe that there's good people in every situation. But from a relationship standpoint, is divorce prevalent over there? Are women toxic over there? That's what I want to hear. I have mentally retired. I am no more emotionally tied to a job. I clock in, do the minimum, get the paycheck, clock out. The greatest thing? That's great. Yeah, just get to that point where you just have to, when you're able, I know your kids are young, Betty, but get to that point. I'd rather be in the middle of the woods alone with a grizzly bear or dogman. If you can be alone and you don't need people around and you find joy and peace and quiet and freedom, that's awesome. I like to talk to people. I like to meet people, but I like to be alone too. I mean, I like to spend time by myself. I love it. Lived alone for 9 years. Well, my kids come back and forth, but half the time I've lived alone. Many guys in here, Rad, I'm sure, are just struggling to get by. Yes, we did. I did a show about ways to make money. In fact, Gone with John's got channels on how to power wash and get in that business. It's not a very expensive business to get in. Very low entry, and you can make a lot of money cleaning up people's messes. And that goes for house cleaning, carpet cleaners. I think to that point, Wolf, a lot of men have to understand what's coming in versus what's going out. If more money is going out than is coming in, or they're having huge child support payment, we should do a show on that. You got to look at the per capita. Well said. Sub to CEO of one. There you go. But yeah, there is a challenge. You might have to take some shitty jobs. You might have to work 2 jobs. But you can get ahead eventually, someday. It might take a while. Well, let's not talk about religion in here, guys. Just respect each other's beliefs. You know, we have Muslims that are in here. We have Christians. We have Jewish. We have Orthodox. You name it. Buddhists. But Buddhism is a religion. It's just a way of thinking. Thing is, I did everything by the book. Never messed up with the popo. Did my job. Packed my lunch. Married, stayed, raised kids. Only to be ended humbled in a wheelchair. Yeah, you know, that can be bitter. That can be a bitter pill. But we know you're spending that time. You're spending your energy with your boys, and you know, waiting for the time when you'll be able to not have those obligations. The Dogman says, hi, now give me a bone. With over 7 million new arrivals, the odds aren't good, guys. There you go. Pat Drop, thank you. Yes, lots of divorces. Many are fleeing the country. About Jesus, we don't believe in him. We said he was he said he was the Messiah, but lied. Yes, I know Jewish do not view him as the Messiah, but you know what? We respect everybody except divorce courts and people trying to put us down. Hazmat crews that do crime scene cleaning yes, they do. I knew a guy that did that, and they made if you can handle that. Yeah, it's a fallacy that people think the government cleans up crimes. No, they're actually the guys that made a lot of money. They made it in cleaning up other people's business or doing jobs that people didn't want to do. House cleaning industry is I knew a guy who started a house cleaning business, and he got it up to like 4 crews. He was making $500,000 in profit just for him each year after he paid everything. He dealt with people that didn't want to clean their own damn homes at $200 every 2 weeks. I've heard Israel has expensive areas, but I think there's some areas that are not as expensive. I could be wrong, but I tell you what, every Israeli has to go in the military, I believe, for 2 years, 18 to 20. Am I right, Padrop? The best thing I would do to tell guys, creepy, as long as you live a virtuous life, your religion doesn't matter. Just treat others people's nice. Just treat other people as you would like to be treated. Just be a good person. Just respect others and be a spiritual person. There is and there is an infinite intelligence that I believe that runs this world, that we are here from a divine platform. It could be in a simulation, but there's some sort of divine connection that I see. You want to call it a white guy on a throne sitting out in the middle of the space, go for it. You want to call it an infinite intelligent mathematical algorithm, go for it. But there's something, I think, that connects us all. I think all men are seeing something wrong with the world. We've sought the most peaceful resolution. We are walking away. Yeah, we don't recommend marriage, cohabitation, or kids. The golden rule, Radical Rafter, well said, brother. The women, I remember seeing, we were in Vegas and we saw Israeli, they were soldiers, they were women, and Israel has some beautiful women. Damn. I see religion as a tool to keep us apart, divide and conquer. Yeah, me too. The best thing is a cup of hot coffee. You know, I like kettle chips, those kettle chips, barbecue kettle chips with a nice turkey sandwich, nice soda pop. Man, that's like heaven. That with spicy brown mustard, all of the veggies, nice Havarti cheese, just the little things in life. A nice taco with wonderful salsa, nice pizza, just the small things in life. A lot of unhinged women, there were reasons certain constraints were put on the other gender. Mm-hmm. Religion was the cause of most wars, that's for sure. After losing my lunch, working on Section 8 housing to clean up old death scene, you better have it. Yes. I couldn't do that, man. But there's money in cleaning up people's messes. Dirty work, like Mike Rowe talks about. There's great money in the trades. There's great money in truck driving. If you can, again, what are you willing to do to retire early? Now, we all have to work. It's very rare that you're going to win the lottery. It's very rare that another Bitcoin is going to come along and you bought it at 150 and it goes to 60,000. You know, use interest. Again, the quickest way to get wealth is to live on as little as possible and save the rest. Buy quality things that don't break down and live a way that you can live comfortably, peacefully, safely, and quietly and enjoy life. But you're absolutely right, Timothy. You do not want to do that. I wouldn't do it. Well, that divine connection is playing out in real time according to the book of Revelation. Either that's extremely accurate prophecy from 2,000 years or it's the blueprint for the insane. Well said. Lots of Dawn dish soap with those cleanups. And bleach. I firmly believe in USA West, it's self-deletion to marry a woman who is past 30. She's too damaged, has kids. My brother did, married 2 single moms, been divorced, and now he's taking to the cleaners on the second time. Quality things that don't break down, hard to find. Yes, that's another thing. The appliances, my washer and dryer, I think, are 20 years old. Great. All I had to do was replace the heating element, 2 screws, done. Washes my clothes and cleans my clothes. No, it's not some front loading. Those front loaders, we had them. They break down. They rust and mold, all sorts. They have so many damn issues. But and my fridge is almost 20 years. But a lot of these fridges that were built in 2018 and washing, they're junk. They last like 3 to 5 years. You're absolutely right, creepy. Don't reuse the mattresses. When men are happy and satisfied with small, simple thing, here comes a woman say, you should be doing more. Don't you want more? What? What more do you want? Yeah, I want more peace, quiet, and freedom. A lot of guys don't care anymore about dealing with ladies. I mean, they've gotten to a point. They got the thirst out of them. They don't really care. They've seen the reality of what life can be without these whacked out marriages, cohabitation, kids, and so forth. 100% planned obsolescence. We're seeing that. We're seeing that with vehicles now. A lot of these vehicles are built like crap. I know Toyota's having a huge issue on their new motor that they came out with to satisfy the EPA and their environmental conditions. 100%. Good to see Big World. I was just talking about you. In Da Nang. Ask Rad about Big Pharma. You damn right it is. Damn right it is. Don't go Indiana Jones in the crib. No, the con they say is you have so much more potential. Of course, they're very good with their words. They're very good. Men fall for it. They get charmed by the ladies. Your ex-wife flattened you financially, spiritually, physically. I don't want it to happen to my sons. Well, here's the deal. She can't flatten you anymore. You're going to have to build back eventually, that you're doing now. But now you have all the power. And that's what we need to tell men. Whatever they've come out of, whatever relationship, whatever challenging, destitute situation, you're at the bottom, you can work back up. It's all a mindset change. It might take 10 years. It might take 5 years. But eventually you're getting to the point where you'll eventually let that anger subside. You'll see it as a gift and you'll build back. If I can do it, you can do it. Many men can do it. Easy there, Big World. There's a lot of different rabbit holes involved in this. Yeah, we probably won't want to talk about that because the algorithm might flag us. But at the end of the day, find a way to live above your means or below your means. Do not try to live on 30% of your income. After 4 to 5 years, you're going to have a nice sizable account if it's earning. You can get some nice earning interests. There's my Fidelity Bank. I do the fund that's, I think it's 4.9% interest on any money. It's their cash management fund. You can write checks out of it. You can use your debit card. So it's not locked up like a CD. CD is going to give you about 5.5% right now, maybe 5.25%. You do CDs. I would do a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month, and 12 months. So every 3 months they're maturing. Now you're going to get a quarter, maybe a half a point more out of it. Is it worth it? Could be. Right? In order to be ashamed or insulted by a lady, you first have to give a shit. Yeah. You're 100% right, Timothy. Care about your sons. Absolutely, Betty. I know he's doing good for his deal. Let's see here real quick. I just got it. I want more or less females in my life. Been tired of their ever-present nonsense. Once you've been married and been in a relationship, it is what it is. I was financially abusive. Oh, man. But we had no debt. I guess the abuse. Sports cards and sports memorabilia can be a great investment. Yeah. Especially if you find the Ty Cobb. I'm just texting my boy. He had a question about insurance. Okay, David Smith, good to see you, brother. Every woman's ex is abusive and controlling and abusive. Well said. But guys, there's a way that you can retire early. I'm not saying retire and be driving a new car every week to the country club. That's, again, validation. Remove external validation. You know what? Here's the key. Remove external validation from your life and see how easy you can live. How cheaply. You don't care. Again, don't go live in, a very unsafe place. Live minimalistically. Once you remove external, you don't need the fancy car. You don't need the fancy clothes because you're not trying to impress anyone. Number one, your most important thing in retirement is your health. You have to have good health. Number two, you need to have some sort of wealth behind you. It doesn't have to be 10 million like they tell you. You can live very well on 500,000, especially with dividends and some of these funds, minimalistically. And you can live in the United States on that. People are doing it. It's looking at all the different options. Being mobile, living outside of the city limits, maybe some town 30 minutes away where the rent's half as much. You might have to spend 30 minutes once a week driving into town, but guess what? It's probably quieter out there. Look at ways, if you want to internationally live, there's ways to do that. Again, you don't have to make a lot of money anymore. And if you make a ton of money, now you're in a high tax bracket. Once you make under the threshold, you can still live good if you decide to work a part-time job. Looking at the storms and floods when the lights go out on your plastic and electro money is useless. Plan accordingly. Well said. So there you go. It can be done. And it's just a mindset of thinking how you can live minimalistically. Again, buy quality things. If you're living internationally, you don't need anything in terms of furniture unless you're going to, stay there a long time. You can find furnished apartments, very well furnished, for very inexpensive. Go look on Vietnam Da Nang apartment tours, what you can find. Now, are they might be 6 blocks from the beach instead of 1 block. Does that bother you? Get a scooter, If you live internationally, you don't probably need a car. They have wonderful bus systems all over. People buy things they can't afford to impress people who don't care. Isn't that the truth? Well said. Appreciate you being here. Rad, that's not what the bots from the dead internet theory tell me. True. There's things that it's you just have to open your mindset up to believe that you can do this, and you don't need $4 million. I got a buddy, he's 63, he's going to retire in 2 years. He's got like 4 or 5 million, and he's been in pharma his whole life. He's done very well. Been through 2 divorces, unfortunately. But he invested very early, and for 38 years of compounding interest, he's done very well. He's dumped, 20% of his paycheck every month into a fund, and he's done well. But he wants to he wants like 4 homes and all this crap. Man, overhead is going to kill you. Keep as little overhead as possible. Keep your health up. Learn about money. It's not hard to understand money. It's not hard to understand funds. There's really, Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, says 2 funds: an S&P fund that tracks the S&P, whether index or ETF, or and a government bond fund for 90% in an S&P, 10% in the government. That's what he says. That's how he built shit. Because the risk and the rewards, you're still going to get a 10 to 14% return over the life, let's say 20 years. Well, there's going to be crashes up and down. Never time the markets. Always have time in the markets. Admittedly, I can be very materialistic. I like nice things, not for valid, because there's no reason not to like. I like nice things too. But buy quality nice things that'll last. I told her I was a minimalist. She said I was. 2 months later, she's sending me videos of the south of France saying she wants to live there. Well, they all want to live in France and have their wine and cheese every morning and live bougie. The best investor is Nancy Pelosi. Well said. Well said. Buffett is sitting on a ton of cash right now. Yes, he is. I haven't. I'm watching. I think we're going to see look at the markets. 43,000 right now. It's huge. It's huge. China. So there you go, guys. It's been a great stream. Really appreciate the input. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you on the next one. Start thinking ahead right now. Start learning, finding ways to get out of debt, to live lower, live as low beneath your means as possible by quality things. Start looking at things, whether it's a mobile life, whether it's living in a foreign country, whether it's living in areas in the United States, preferably a red state that has cheaper living, where you don't have all this overhead. The overhead will kill you, but the first and foremost, health. If you're not healthy, get healthy. Fast, exercise, start walking. The little things add up. Trust me, it's just like putting money into a fund. Every little cent will grow that. Just like every little step you take will make your health better. Be strong. Well said, Gerald. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.